Hello, everyone. I have the honor and pleasure to invite my friend, a real-life Wonder Woman, and the co-founder and CEO of Houzz, Tatarko.
Hi, Oren.
How are you?
Great.
Excellent. So why don't we kick it off by telling people a little bit more about Houzz. I'm sure that anyone who has remodeled or built a home in the past few years probably can tell me about it. But for those who don't, maybe tell us the story of Houzz.
So the story of Houzz started with a house, not surprisingly, that Alon, my husband, and I bought. It was, and still, our first house that we really own, ever. And when we bought this house, we had big dreams of how amazing it's going to be to buy a fixer-upper and create our beautiful nest for our family. In reality, though, that dream was pretty much a nightmare. And everything was really, really difficult in that process, from finding how to communicate the ideas that we had in our heads to the different professionals, to actually finding great professionals. And to make a long story short, we spent a lot of time, energy, and money that we couldn't afford spending for nothing, just to get plans that we couldn't afford, we didn't like, we had to throw it away and start all over again. So with that, we thought it's impossible. That's something that people spend so much time on. It's their homes. It's something that we are so passionate about, to create something that we truly love, that reflects our identity and gives the right nest to our family. That process is so broken, and there are so many frictions. While everything else in our life it has so much technology and it's much more effective. So we talked to lots of people in our community in the Silicon Valley, and 20 parents from our kids' local school, together with a few professionals, architects, designers from the Bay Area, we decided to put together a project that became Houzz, how we are going to collaborate together using technology and make the whole process much more fun. Long story short, this side project gained hundreds of thousands of users, us doing it part-time, nights and weekends, working to support ourselves, of course, during the day, raising 2 kids at a time, and it just took life of its own. No money was behind it, no other people behind it. And then we met you. Well, there were a few things along the way until we got to you, but basically another great Israeli, Amos Wilnai from our community, said when he discovered what we were doing, "Are you nuts? Why aren't you bringing investors? If you're not going to do it, somebody else at some point will bring investors and kill you." I said, okay, but we don't like investors, really, and that's going to ruin all the fun that we have working on this project, which wasn't such a small project anymore, with our community. And you know how you change our perspective about it, and the rest became history. Houzz today, Oren funded our first round back in the end of 2010. It's actually 7 years ago, exactly. Yeah, but we started actually bringing the people and everybody in, quitted our jobs, exactly in fall 2010. And today we have over 1,600 people working at Houzz, not just in Palo Alto, but in 4 other offices in the US and many other offices around the world. We launched it in 14 countries outside of the US already. We have 40 million people every month that are using the platform to make their home beautiful with better technology. And they collaborate with over 1.5 million professionals that collaboration with the community completely changed the landscape and how they do their work. So technology does help, and great investors along your side do help a lot.
Okay, but it's not about me.
It's not. But I give you the credit because you
Thank you.
truly deserve it.
So from these humble beginnings that you just described, and this may actually come to as a surprise for many people, but Houzz today is the most valuable company ever. For sure, most valuable tech company. I suspect it's also the most valuable company, period, to have been started and run by women. I think that's an amazing accomplishment. And I think it's a source of pride for this community that it's really one of us, is the one who started and led the most valuable company ever, started and led by a woman. What possessed you to think you can do it? And what prepared you in your prior life to do that?
People ask me this question every once in a while in different contexts because they are trying to figure out that female Israeli founder, what do we have in the water here? Which is very interesting. Last time that somebody asked me, I said, look, we just grew up in a country that embraced women in general. We had Golda Meir. We still don't have it in the US, but we will one day.
Maybe Ambassador Haley.
Ambassador Haley. And it's wonderful. I think that, we go to the army, we do everything. But if I go back to my roots, where I came from, I had a grandmother, the most amazing person, the most inspirational person in my life. She passed away 3 years ago. She was a Holocaust survivor. She was a child during the Holocaust. And she's been through the worst camps ever. 4 camps from Bergen-Belsen to Auschwitz. The worst. She lost her entire family. And when the war ended, she was a teenager. And she had only one older aunt that left Poland before the war to the US that found her and said, come to the US, live with me. And she said, no, if I survived all this, I'm going to Israel. And she went to Israel, met my grandfather, who also survived the Holocaust. And she built the most remarkable life a woman could build those ages. Not just she had the most remarkable career, international fashion designer, a remarkable artist. She did so many incredible things and raising kids when women didn't do things like this. And she used to tell me, there is nothing that you want that you can't do in life. Nothing. Everything you want, you can do. And she just said, set up your own standards and live by them. Don't live by other people's standards. It's what you want. You know how to do it. Go and get it. Okay, I'm trying.
So you did.
She definitely proved to me if she'd been through all that and she built what she built, who am I to say I can't do it? And I think, there is something in the Israeli community that gives you lots of courage to do lots of great things. I do want to tell you one little story that happened before Houzz that I'm very, very proud of, not because it started from a friend of mine and myself, but because what other great people in the Israeli community did with it. So we were standing, and nobody knows this story because I never told this story, but you're the relevant community for it. So I stood at a park that was with my second child, with a friend. The times were before Houzz, so I had a reasonable job that I could stand in a park in the afternoon. And we were talking about how are we going to make our American/Israeli kids, all our kids were born in the US, Israeli. The Israeliness that everybody is talking about, how are we going to give it to our kids? They spoke Hebrew, they are fluent, they are bilingual, but reading, writing, and getting them to understand the Israeli culture, it's not enough that we'll do it at home. We need something that will bring them together with other Israeli kids. And so we decided that if there is no school like this, we'll start one. And we said, okay, what do we need? We need teachers. We need a business plan. We need kids of Israelis that will want to study what is being an Israeli kid in the Bay Area. And we did all that. We built everything, and we actually left enough margin to go and rent a space and run it by ourselves with the teacher and everybody. But then we went to the JCC 2 minutes before launching the program, and we said, we're going to do it, but do you want to try do it under the JCC? And the JCC have remarkable people that really want to bring together the Israeli, the American Jewish people. And that community is so, so strong. Said, sure, we'll try it. And, we started with my son's class, 10 kids. Today, this amazing school supported by the ICC in Palo Alto have 330 students. Not just that, they were able to get Hebrew credits as a second language for high school. So my son and his friend that were the first student in the class, they actually became tutors for younger kids. And they are getting credit. So no other second language at school. Hebrew, that's the language. Good for high school, good for college. And how you spread the love. And thank you so much for all the people in the community. It can be just the idea. You need to have great people with you to execute it. And I'm very grateful to have all these experiences in my background. So.
No, I think that's great. And unfortunately, my kids missed it because they're a little bit older. But so I want to switch gears and ask you about a topic that has been very much in the news, especially in the Bay Area, but in general, I think, which is diversity. And Houzz is very unusual in the Silicon Valley in that a great percentage of the employees, from file and rank all the way up to top executives, are women. And in general, very diverse, not just the gender diversity, but in general. So my question is it by design? To what do you ascribe it? And how does it affect the culture, if at all?
I think that from the beginning, we had an idea that if we are going to do it full time, and that was a huge decision for us. Both of us quit our jobs. We had 2 kids back then. Now we have 3. And go and do it around the clock, that was a big, big decision. And then we said, if we're going to do it, we want to do it in a way that every single day we'll be surrounded by people that we truly love working with. And that means diversified group of people from different backgrounds, excellent at what they do. And guess what? Lots of them are women, because women are great too. And they can give so much for this industry. So from the ground up, and I truly believe in it, if you build a strong foundation from the beginning, you can build a very strong house on top of it. We were very, very picky, and we invested 50% of our time interviewing people, the best people that we could bring for every single position, from engineering to product, design, community, marketing. We had to build the content, the community, the commerce, and of course, the product itself. And it was always about how do we bring the best people. And yes, we do have over 50% female in the house, and I'm very proud of it.
And this is very, very exceptional for people who are not in Silicon Valley. Very exceptional to have more than 50% across all the. At what point, by the way, did you stop personally interviewing every single candidate? How many employees did the company have when you just couldn't do it anymore?
At some point, we started building the sales and operation organization, and I interviewed all the salespeople until we got to solid 150 salespeople. So I interviewed all the candidates until we got there. And I felt that the process is so strong. And we had to start building in the international operation. I said, OK, guys, you're on your own. I'm moving to the international operation. At some point, we started splitting Alon and I, because at the beginning, both of us interviewed every single candidate. But I'll tell you something. All the people that started with us at the beginning, they're still at Houzz.
I know.
Which I think is lovely. Not just you can turn your back and ask them something and they remember the history and other people can look up to them in terms of culture. They are the solid foundation for us. But also they helped us bring other great people like them to the company. And the same people that sat when we started the first few weeks working from our house. They sat on our kids' bean bags in their playroom when they went to school, and when the kids came back, they kicked us out of the room, and we had to move to another room of the house until we got the first office. But that's the entire thing. You know, these strong people that we hired at the beginning that are still there, they brought other great people, and at some point, they didn't need us to be in every single conversation. I still spend a big chunk of my time interviewing and bringing lots of great talent to the company. But obviously, at this point, I don't have to interview everybody.
Okay, one last question. Because we can't ignore it, you are a woman founder in a very male-dominated society, environment, I would say. Have you find it more challenging? Have you, on some aspects, did you find it can be also an advantage? How do you, do you even think of it as an issue at all? How you share your experiences with us?
Let's start with that. There are not enough female founders and CEOs, period. Not enough. But I do see some improvement, and it will get better. I just had an opportunity to meet a few weeks ago with a delegation of female CEOs and founders that came from Israel to our office, 12 of them, and each one of their stories is pretty remarkable. You should get to know them, Oren. So it's pretty amazing understanding that if they'll see that it's possible, and they'll do it, and they'll show others that it's possible, first of all, it will make it better for all of us. I also think that we have a lot to contribute. And actually, even parenthood is making me, I think, a better contributor to this company. Because it forces you to really, really focus, both at home and at work, at what really matters. I have to. So I have, and what's important to me should not be important to another person. That's perfectly fine. Remember, I live by my own standards. I don't live up to anyone else's standards or based on anyone else's standards. So I decided, together with my husband, of course, what's important to us to be for our kids at home, and what's important for us to be for the Houzzers at Houzz, at work. And between these decisions, there are so many other things that other people can do because you are really, really focused on what's important to you. So yes, being independent woman from Israel, serving the army, or growing up in a family of entrepreneurs and strong women, you can put all this together, but at the end of the day, we have lots of Israeli strong characters. And I think if they'll see that it's possible to combine it all and see it as a power and opportunity and strength versus weakness, that would be so much better. And I want to end it with one thing that I always, like to tell the female founders. What does it mean live by your own standard? When Sequoia invested, after you convinced us to bring another VC to the house to be able to hire top talent, we got a few months after they invested an invitation to the annual event. It called Sequoia Supper. All their famous, legendary CEOs from all over the world come to this event. And we were so looking forward to it. And guess what? It fell on our son's birthday. And kind of, what am I going to do? And I said, what do you mean, what am I going to do? We never miss our kids' birthdays. Never. So I said, OK, here's my first test. Not just I'm not going to go, even though I really regret not being able to go there, but I'm also going to say the truth. I'm going to tell them why. And I emailed them and said, thank you so much. We were so looking forward to it. Unfortunately, this year, the date falls on our son's birthday. We don't miss our kid's birthday. I'll see you next year. You know what? This set up the standard in a completely different way with the board. And I'm so happy, and you know it, that now, having a male-dominated board, and that will change too. Remember that I said that when we bring more independent board members, they feel comfortable emailing everybody on the board and say, I know that we scheduled a board meeting 6 months ago, but I have a teacher-parent conference at my child's preschool tomorrow. Do you mind moving the board meeting by an hour? And when I get this email, not just that we'll all say yes, I also know that these are the right standards that we should all live by. Our kids are our pride, and they should become part of everything.
Thank you very much, Adi.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you.